congratulations on your book. You already
Thank
know.
you.
I'm partway through it. I had intended to finish it before our interview. That didn't quite happen.
Okay.
I'm enjoying it. It's very easy to read and makes sense, and it's not too out there. It's very practical. I think people would be interested to know, do we all have guides around us, spirit guides, or are there only certain people? Do we all have access? How far away are they? Can we call on them?
Yes.
Who are they?
Yeah, I believe that everybody has them. And my understanding is that everyone has at least one spirit guide who is assigned to them for the entirety of this particular lifetime. And what I've started to see over time, I call them a spiritual support team, because you can actually call on different guiding beings at various times. So for example, when you become a mother, if you wanted to, you could call on guiding beings to help you in that transition or in raising kids. I almost think of it, because I'll often try and make sense of it in my own head, and I will often think of it like a board of advisors in a business. And you might have the accounting person and the lawyer, and there's our spiritual support team can play different roles as well. So yes, everyone has access to them. How far away are they? Well, I mean, they don't have a physical body, so it's not quite the same as sensing that someone's in the same room as you. I believe that their energy can be as close to us as we wish to invite it in.
How do we know when they're close? Are there ways that we can pick up?
Yes. So we all have what I call psychic senses. So in just the same way that we have our physical senses of sight, taste, etc., we have the same senses in a metaphysical sense. And so the way that spirit is going to communicate with us is not necessarily through our physical senses, but the metaphysical. So very early on in the piece, for example, in the workshop that I mentioned years ago that I went to, I would feel my hands tickle. And so early on, I realized, oh, okay, if my hands are tickling, spirit's trying to get my attention. Unfortunately, I also sweat a lot when spirit is around. They won't give that one up, and I'm kind of stuck with it. So particularly if I'm really channeling for large groups of people, especially in the height of summer, it is incredibly uncomfortable. But that is a signal. There's so much energy in my body. Energy also spins. So a lot of people can feel like a little bit dizzy, or they can feel like things are spinning. Colors are another way that spirit will try and get our attention.
What do you mean?
So particularly in, say, a guided meditation, when we're relying on our third eye and not our physical eyes, we can just see these glimpses of colors. Some people will actually read auras, but colors can actually be so symbolic. So if you've had a dream, for example, and everything is a particular color, that can actually be a clue. Yeah.
Like animals.
Yes. I believe animals and numbers can all be messengers of sorts. So, and definitely through our intuition, we can sense, we can feel that the energy in the room shifts, or there's a reason that the hairs on the back of our arms stand up, or there's so many clues that our body is giving us that someone non-physical is trying to get our attention. Most of the time we're not even paying attention to it. We're too busy.
So it happens a lot more than we're aware of.
I believe so.
What about orbs? I often see orbs when I'm doing a Zoom. Actually, it's funny, I don't see them ordinarily, but I'll see them in my own video often, just recently, which I find very curious about it. So I'd like to hear your take on orbs.
Yeah, look, I what is my take on orbs? I have certainly seen them in photographs. Every now and then I will actually get these little flashes of light, not necessarily through electronics, just when I'm sitting in a room, to the point where I've actually had to go and have my eyes checked because I thought, like, is there something wrong with my eyes? I do believe that it can be a way that we're actually seeing and capturing the energy. I do want to put a disclaimer on it though, because I mean, I'm not a photographer, but I know that if you hold your camera in a certain way and the sunlight, like, you can create them.
Yes.
So we just have to be like,
I see balls of light moving like that.
Yes, that is, in my mind, usually spirit guides or something in spirit that is just being captured electronically.
Oh, cool. I'll have to look into that. How can we differentiate between our intuition and wishful thinking or fear-based thinking?
So, generally speaking, our intuition is wanting us to grow. It's wanting us to expand. And so it might feel really uncomfortable. There are plenty of things that my intuition will be like, you need to go and like investigate this, that I know would actually be good for me. Fear, on the other hand, can feel quite similar, like, oh, that's scary, I don't want to do it. But fear-based thinking or feeling generally is trying to keep us safe. And so it to me, it often feels like a contraction, or it will feel like hiding or retreating from whatever's being presented in front of me. In terms of wishful thinking, I actually think that wishful thinking is quite powerful, but we do have to learn how to be objective, because if I use the example, I want a new job, for example, wishful thinking is, I'll be fine, I'm going to get a job and I'll just quit my job and the universe will come in and like swoop in underneath me and lift me up. I think that's an element of wishful thinking. Your intuition may be, yeah, I need to leave this job, but your intuition is likely to then say, make this phone call or research this position, or, you know, it's actually trying to help us navigate. Fearful thinking is, I can't leave my job, I'll never have any money again.
Great advice. Signs and, okay, so there's two parts to this question, signs and signposts. So you mentioned you had these two big events in your life, which were big signposts. I'd like to know, do we all have those, or is that just because your path was in a psychic one in particular? And signs, what sort of signs do we get and should we look out for? I do believe that there are signposts for everyone, and I do picture it as we actually have a particular path that's not necessarily set in stone, but life will present us literally signposts with, you know, the choices of directions, and our job is to figure out, by using our intuition, which one of those directions we want to go in. And actually looking backwards is one of what I think is one of the best ways to start to realize what your signposts look like. Right? Because your signpost will look different from mine, because you have a different path and you're going in a different direction and are having a different experience. But quite often, you know, if we come to a fork in the road, we're so much looking to this way or this way. But if we look backwards, we can actually understand how we've gotten here and how it influences what we're going to do next. So I do believe that everyone has the signposts. In terms of following signs, I really do believe that once you start looking for them, when you task yourself to be more of an observer in your own life, you really can't help but to notice them. Again, I want to call,
Beg your pardon?
Are there a lot?
I believe there are. And I want to put a caveat on this because it's the same principle as what we spoke about before with the orbs, and even with our yes. So one of the examples I often use is to ask for a sign, right? Let the world of spirit bring that sign to you, as opposed to, if I'm meant to leave my job, let a yellow car drive past me now.
Right. Yes.
So,
why is that, Helen?
Well, for starters, it's incredibly difficult for spirit to manipulate for a yellow car to drive past us right now. Like they are able to do a lot, but maybe not that. So I think it's actually a tall order. But I think there's real magic in starting to watch how the signs come to us, or what the signs are that come to us, because that simple act starts to show us, I believe, how much life is working for us. And we actually start to see this serendipitous, synchronistic life that we're missing if we haven't tasked ourselves to look for it.
One important question: do you believe that we've all got a life purpose, destiny? There is a bigger plan?
Yes. Does it all look like us saving the world or having, a successful business or like some external measure of purpose? No. But I do believe that as a soul, each and every one of us has incarnated to learn and to offer teaching as well.
In our field, it could be any field. It could be cooking.
It could be any field. It could be as a parent. It could be in our career. It could be something that no one ever sees. It can be our own healing. It can be, the human self, I think, thinks about purpose as what we contribute, what we do, what we've made, what we've said. And our soul is really looking at what we've learnt, what we've explored, what we've offered, what we've shared. I also talk about purpose as we can have this overarching purpose. So the idea of a life purpose to me is kind of a moot point, because you don't know the purpose until your life is almost, or if not complete. And you can't actually, we're so much wanting all of those signposts to figure out what our purpose is. There's a secondary part to this, that each and every moment is of purpose. And if we are actually present in each moment, or more often than not, in each moment, and we have a series of moments that add up over our lifetime, then we will have been of so much purpose. We will have offered so much. And we're also going to see a pattern emerge. So I'm just making this up, Kate, but to use an example, you might think that your purpose is to, gather stories and share stories and inspire people when they're, engaging with your magazines. But actually, if you look at your moment-to-moment purpose, right now, your purpose is being open to what I'm offering. And my purpose is to offer whatever I have to offer. And so to your soul, it is incredibly purposeful to have created these situations to listen and see and hear people.
Wow.
And that feels really different from, and I'm putting these words in your mouth, but I'm here to create a magazine. I'm here to create the stories. It's two really different ways of thinking about purpose.
Very much so.
Yeah. And I think it means that every single person we encounter, we may be missing the opportunity to give of our purpose and to receive someone else's. So that person that we've dismissed in the shopping centre, oh no, I can't. No, I'm also guilty of this. I don't think we can do it for everyone, but I'm using this as an example. We may have just missed an opportunity to have smiled at someone, and our purpose was to be that person who saw them.
Oh, lovely, Helen. Thank you very much for your time. I've really you've shared a lot of helpful information on how to connect with our higher guides and spirit guides, and your lovely book you already know. Is there anything else you'd like to comment, contribute, mention?
Oh, I mean, I really could just keep talking about it all day. I think the last thing that I would really just want people to know is that they do know more than they think they do. And when you trust yourself, your whole world can change.
It's lovely. Thank you very much for your time, Helen.